Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I'm back. I'm hanging loose in South Melbourne, this time with two-time winning Caulfield Cup jockey and someone who I'll call a friend now, Nick Hall. How are you, mate? Great to see you. Welcome to the show.
Yeah, hey Brent, how you doing? How am I? Yeah, I'm pretty good. I'm a bit sore. I boxed yesterday for the first time in a while, and my intercostals are really sore.
Are they?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, how are you?
I'm going really good, mate. Thanks for asking. I can't believe I'm back. It's been 7 months since I recorded the last episode of Hangin Loose.
Been a while.
It's been a while. The last one, so this is officially season 2.
Mm-hmm.
The last one was shot in Venice Beach, California.
Whoa.
With Dan Levi from Juice magazine. It was an awesome episode 13. So this kicks off season 2.
Really glad to be a part of it.
Great to have you on the show. So it's winter time in Melbourne. You've got a great history, a great story. You were the Thrive members last week were privileged enough to hear you come and speak at the dinner. So, mate, I know you won 2 Caulfield Cups, so let's go way back to the beginning. Tell me a little bit about your background, a little bit about your story, and how you got into riding, and then what happened then.
Okay. So I come from a long line of racing here at Heritage. There has been a whole, up until when I quit, always riding for 100 years, over 100 years. And on Mum's side, she had a long line of trainers that trained horses.
Okay.
And I don't know exactly how long, but it would be at least 3rd or 4th generation. And Dad was apprentice to Mum's dad, and that's how I was made. And I sort of wasn't really involved in horses. I grew up in Melbourne and Singapore and Dubai, and I ended up in boarding school in Brisbane. And I suppose at the time I didn't really know, but I wasn't very happy in myself at boarding school. And someone just sort of made an off-the-cuff remark about that I should be a jockey, like that was in my family, and it really sort of gave me a bit of an out, and so I got in contact with my father, who was a bit estranged to at the time. My mum and dad had been through a bad divorce, and I sort of was left with my mum and her side of the family, and asked, he was a very well-known jockey, and I asked him if I could pursue being a jockey, and between him and my uncle Ronnie, who they put me in Mansfield, which is a very sort of horsey town.
It is.
Yeah.
Rural Victoria,
pretty horsey. So I did 2 years there, and I'll tell you a funny story too. My first day at the track, everyone sort of thought, oh yeah, Hall family, he'll know what he's doing, and they handed me a saddle and they pointed to a horse, and there was a couple of really good looking girls working there, and so instead of asking what to do, I thought I would just try and do it anyway, so I didn't want to look silly, and I put there's only 2 ways a saddle can go on a horse, right. So it was a 50-50 chance. And I put it on the wrong way. So that was my first experience. And then, I don't know, I fell off a lot, and I didn't get injured too badly, but I was pretty fearless and a young, dumb sort of attitude, and I was driven. I was really driven, and I got some really quick early success, and that felt really good.
Yeah.
And so I sort of followed those feelings, and I became very, very successful, and one thing led to the other, and I ended up winning over 10 Group 1s.
Wow.
And a couple of Caulfield Cups, which my father didn't win. Fulfilled the trophy cabinet for the family.
Do you let him know about that he didn't win it?
Occasionally, but his record crushes mine, so I don't bring it up too often.
Yeah, he's got you covered. He gives you a bit of a clip, right?
And so that was that's the career journey really, and I would say top 5 or in Australia most years. pretty good career.
You did. I remember always looking through the form guides, being quite keen on the horses back in the days, and anytime I saw the Hall name, because it was your cousin as well, Vincent Hall, and your father, of course. G Hall winning Melbourne Cup on Doremus, or finishing a close second.
That's right.
Yeah.
You do know your form.
Yeah, correct, mate, correct. And I always saw your name, and I used to always follow you when you were riding, because I was playing golf with Ronnie, your uncle. I'm quite friendly with him, and he's a funny fella. And so, yeah, you did a great job. So, I mean, for the punters out there or anyone interested in horse riding, I mean, you used to have to control a 500 kilogram thoroughbred and steer it around a track, competing against 20 other quote unquote lunatics steering beasts around the track, right? So, what's that actually like to control something like that animal, or try to control it? I mean, and then once you're doing that, when you get to the front and you're about to cross the line and win, just take us through that. There'll be a lot of people be interested to.
Sure.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to sort of put words to it, I suppose. It's not as. I only have my experience, right?
Yeah.
And it's not. It wasn't as thrilling, as exciting as it might sound for me. It was. I was there to do a job, and I was professional in that sense. That when I was there, I was going to try my best to win the race.
Yeah.
And so for me, it was a combination of skill and intuition, but there was no space for emotions out there on the track for me, my experience. Because it is dangerous, and more than that, I wanted to win, and so emotion got in the way of winning the race. And so I didn't do a whole lot of form. I really rode mostly on feel and intuition, and that's how I won my race. And I think it held me in good stead. Other jockeys would disagree. Like a lot of them, it's very form. Heavy. That's not really where I came from in my riding, and so it was like this combination of intuition and skill, and making split-second decisions, and but it wasn't like thrilling. But if you were 50 metres out or 100 metres out and you knew you were going to win a big race, you were pretty excited. And the other part of my story is that I experienced relief a lot of the times because I held myself to a high standard, and I put a lot of pressure on myself to win races, and so I probably missed a lot of the joy that it could have brought, and I felt a lot of relief after winning races. That's really the emotion that I felt.
Yeah, okay. Thanks for sharing. It's interesting after hearing your story last week. Spoke about that relief, and let's go into that in a moment. But I remember even relating this to business. There's a lot of people out there in business who were driving for results month to month to month to month. And I remember being in a sales environment, and the start of the month you'd be at zero, and at the end of the month, if you had a great month, you'd get to the target and you feel like a hero. And then overnight, the scoreboard gets wiped clean and you're back to zero again, right? And I remember that feeling at the end of a month, and a lot of sales professionals will be able to relate, that you get that sensation and that feeling of relief of making it to your target, but then the next day, or when the clock strikes midnight, you're back to zero and the pressure's on again. Now, when you talk about relief, curious to hear a little bit more about what you're actually referring to.
I've done a lot of personal development and going inwards now, and I suppose on some level I thought that I wasn't enough in the world, and I had a low self-esteem, and I was trying to avoid feeling crappy. And what winning races did was made me feel like I was enough. It validated me, and it also gave me money, which is another great strategy for avoiding low self-esteem. You can do all sorts of things with money to avoid yourself.
Yeah.
And I got lots of attention and love, and that's what I was craving. Because I probably didn't think very high. I didn't really know this at the time, but I had some insecurities, and I didn't think very highly of myself. And so I required external validation and love to be okay in the world.
Sure. And I can totally empathise and relate with that, even though we've got different narratives to getting there. We've been able to identify similarities there. So when you're going through this process at the time and riding these races and winning this money and getting the attention and the accolades, you weren't obviously aware of this going on, or were you, or you weren't?
No, I wasn't aware.
You weren't aware?
It was completely unconscious at this stage.
Yeah.
I just thought I was... I just thought I was being successful.
Yeah.
I just thought I was being successful. That's what I really thought. And on one level, I was.
Yeah.
And the times when I started to even consider this was when I got a few injuries along the way, just wear and tear injuries from just pushing too hard, basically. And during that time, I partied a lot, again, trying to avoid low self-esteem. It had very similar highs and validation aspects to it, We were partying at like a semi-celebrity sort of, I don't know how to describe it exactly, but like that sort of...
In the circles that mattered at the time kind of thing, yeah.
Yeah, and that really made me feel like I was enough again. With that going up and alcohol and drugs coming with that, there was some big lows, and it was actually in that in the low points that I began to question things, because there was no running at that stage. I didn't have a job to go to, or I couldn't keep partying, and so there was a lull in my avoidance strategies, and I had to ask myself the question. Really came through. It was a really painful experience. It wasn't like I sat there and contemplated. I was just like feeling really shitty. And I was like, what's this about? Yeah.
Confronting stuff, right?
Yeah. And I suppose my first bit of personal development, I've seen a psychologist since I was about 29. And the Jockeys Association is very good with. They have really like an unlimited... It's unlimited in the fact that you can use any Western medical approved psychotherapies or psychologies, and they'll pay for it basically.
Okay. Yeah.
And so I did take use of that, and my psychologist actually, God bless her, got me into a mindfulness course. Over 8 weeks, I was really stressed out. I didn't understand what was going on. I kept getting actually physically sick. I was trying to make a return to riding. And my body kept getting physically sick, and she suggested this thing, and I didn't really have any other option, and so I took it, and I did 8 weeks of mindfulness, which was an experience of stopping and going in and getting curious about what was going on for me internally. And I was still unconscious. I did it because I didn't know what else to do.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until And then I practiced mindfulness and meditation on and off, and it hasn't been till the last 2 or 3 years, that I've got a steady meditation practice that I've just been like, thank God for that mindfulness thing. And I've been able to sort of ask myself the right questions and find some awareness and really be the observer to myself and not be so identified with my insecurities and low self-esteem, and just know that they're part of who I am, but not really who I am.
They don't define you at the end of the day, right?
Right.
Yeah. Mate, there's a lot there to learn and process, and that would have taken some time, right?
Yeah,
It would have been a journey. And so you spoke about the other night. You spoke about the ego, and a lot of our identity and our version of wounded self. You spoke about comes back from when we're younger, and a lack of attention from either our mother, father, or both at certain event that happens. I want to share a little bit more about that, because I think it was really empowering to hear it, although confronting as well for those who are there.
It is so confronting,
isn't it?
It really is. The first time I went through a process of I went through this long process of it was a resentment process where you write down everyone you've ever resented in your life, and it takes you through a process where at the end of the process you realise that your resentment for that person is fueled by a belief about yourself and actually has very little to do with what the person did. And so it was confronting to all of a sudden have to be responsible basically for who I was and how I was feeling, and not to be able to blame anyone anymore for my story or narrative that I'd been telling myself. And so it was confronting to finally really realize that I did have low self-esteem, and to the level that I did have it. And you are identified with it, so once you realize that, it does hurt.
Yeah, I know. It does. It's painful.
It's painful for a bit,
yeah.
Until you can get some space between that's not actually who you are.
Yeah.
And so, it's confronting. It's confronting, and really, that is the pain that I was trying to avoid my whole life, with all the strategies that I had. So it's confronting, but at the same time, it's also freeing. When you can take responsibility for yourself and how you're feeling, you'll be free. Whilst your power is with the external world, that my mum, my dad, my partner did it to me, and you can blame them, you'll never be free. And so it was liberating and painful at the same time. What was the question?
You answered it pretty well. It's the source of how that all came about, that self-esteem and that. And, even listening to what you're talking about there, I personally have felt that in a number of different times throughout my life. And just, like with the Engaged Technology Group story, it was kind of like build this business. And if I build this business, then people will like me and I'll feel lovable and I'll feel a level of self-worth. And it was funny, the business kept going up and up and up in terms of results. And I kind of pushed the people I love the most away. And then I thought once I got to that ultimate prize, that then everyone would love me, and then didn't change anything. I was like, holy shit, what have I been doing, It's similar, right? And there's so many people out there who are going through this and experiencing this in their lives, and that's why it was so important, I thought, to bring you on and have a conversation, because it doesn't matter if you're in business or sport or what circle you're in, if you're a mum, or it doesn't matter. We kind of all feel not enough at some period in our life because of our wounded self. So that's where the question was. We all felt not enough. And so,
I think it's a tricky subject to talk broadly about people's experience. But we run personal development workshops, and so I'm in touch with a large number of people, and a network of people that do kind of know this stuff, and we're all wounded to a degree. We all have some unmet validation, and that is how we end up with a personality. Basically, we have a level of rejection that comes. We have an unreasonable, as a child, we have an unreasonable expectation of validation from only 2 people basically.
Yeah.
And at some stage we get wounded and we form a personality that tries to manipulate our parents in order to keep validating us. Yeah, does that make sense?
It does, yeah.
Yeah, and that's who we are. And we
Yeah,
get
yeah.
identified with that,
Yeah.
And we think that's who we are.
Yeah, yeah.
But there is still a part of us that is untouched by human experience. We came into this world totally lovable, not seeking validation. We come into this world totally everything. We're enough, we're lovable, we have total potential, and that part of us is still there. And some of the stuff we do is teach people to switch from their egoic orientation, which is constantly seeking to fulfill what it thinks it lacks. Yeah, so in my case, writing did it for me, in your case, business did it for you.
Yeah.
The problem with that is it can never actually fulfill itself. So it just tries and tries and gets bigger and hungrier. And actually by trying to fulfill the unmet parts of ourselves, we are only reinforcing that. So they actually get hungrier.
Yeah, yeah.
And some of the stuff we do is show you that, that is one orientation, and there's a way through self-awareness that you can identify when you're in that orientation and when you're seeking and wanting, and we can teach you to switch into another orientation, which is the one that's untouched by human experience.
Yeah.
That doesn't really need anything and is able to give.
Yeah.
And it's from that place of giving and of loving, and that comes with like doing what you actually want to do and being passionate about what you actually want, and giving to the ones you love and connecting with the ones you love, and all of those heartfelt things which we are totally capable of experiencing as humans. It's trickier in our Western society, but living from that orientation opposed from living from the one that seeks to fulfill its never-ending needs.
Been there, done that, didn't work for me, and made that transition 2.5 years ago, and now living more in my heart than my mind. Still some old patterns come up time to time, but I've got awareness around it. And I've found, like even through my work now, I'm still in business, but I'm not at that level where I'm chasing the outcome or chasing the level of self-worth based on a number or a dollar figure or a result. Instead enjoying and loving the process each and every day. And I think, my business growth has been slower than what it previously was, but this is something sustainable now for like 20, 25 years. So I see that as something as a real benefit. If someone's out there watching business or an entrepreneur or anyone out there, what other benefits would come from living this kind of way, making this shift and investing in, doing the work? I mean, we know some of the probably disempowering strategies and addictions that do come from living from that wounded self or that egocentric mindset. What are some other benefits for someone watching that may inspire them to take some action and get curious about this?
I would say that the egoic orientation is filled with fear.
Yeah.
And the other one is fearless, which is a nice way to be.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't rely on outcome. It just lives more in the moment and what it's loving in that moment, instead of that it needs an outcome to fulfill itself.
Yeah.
And so, you're more present, you're able to enjoy what you're doing more. That's one of the biggies.
Yeah.
The biggies, but I'm sure there's way more. It certainly brings you, my experience once again, as I was like you, and it pushed the ones that loved away from me.
Yeah.
And in this orientation, slowly but surely, I've been able to reconnect with the ones I love.
Sure.
And I wasn't able to salvage some of the loved ones that I hurt.
Yeah.
That was the truth. You know, there was some. My family had been pretty good,
Yeah.
but there was some partnerships that I had and some girlfriends that we can't go back down that road again. You know, they've moved on and whatever. But I have been able to apologise, reconcile some peace between us, and that there's a lightness that comes with that. My conscious, I did some work. I had to go back and there were some people that I screwed over along the way because I had a wanting mentality, and so I was trying to get things all the time, and I sort of had this dog competitive mindset, and so I had to go back and make some apologies and stuff, and I feel pretty light. My conscience is pretty clear now. I can sort of go through life knowing that I'm a pretty good person, and that I've got some real faith in myself that I'm not going to hurt people anymore. Which inevitably ends up hurting you anyway. It's someone else that's only going to cause you a whole heap of pain, probably more than it causes them.
100%. Just on that note, you're an awesome person.
Thank you.
It's been great having you on the show, mate. It's I think I think creativity and freedom and confidence and not worrying about what other people think is something that's come through my progression and development and working myself. Is that I don't really care other people's opinions, and at the same time I do, but I won't let them impact the way I live my life, because I know that I trust myself and I love myself, and I'm coming from a place of integrity where in the past I may not have been. And I think that's, if anyone's watching, these are some of the reasons why I'd encourage you to jump in one of Nick's workshops, and really encourage you to do the work. So it will empower you in your business, in your relationships, in your finances, in all areas of your life, and that's why this is so important. So for the viewers, Nick, how do they contact you? How do they get in touch with you? How do they come to one of these workshops that you facilitate?
Yeah, sure. So I've teamed up with a couple that have been running workshops for 30 years, and you can click onto www.jananddavid.com. We run them in Hillsville in Victoria, and they're residential, so you're able to fly interstate and come with us. And we run 1 day, 5 day, 3 day programs, and one that's maybe 6 or 7 days too. And so they all cover different areas, or you can call me directly 0434 724 608. We still use phones, so.
Are you sure?
Or my email address is nick@realiseyou.com.au. So any of those ways, click on the website, have a look. If you're interested, then email me or ring me, and we'll get you involved in this great life of ours.
Awesome, and I'll include all the details on the YouTube link, and highly recommend that you guys get along and participate in one of those workshops. I know I've learned a lot by spending a pretty limited amount of time with you, mate. One last thing for the viewers, mate, thanks so much. Thanks for really going deep and sharing your story as well. Really appreciate that. It's not easy to do sometimes, but it is quite freeing when we do it, as we both know. For the punters out there, the top 3 horses you've ever ridden?
Okay, sure. Well, Zipping was my favourite.
Yeah,
he was pretty good.
Yeah,
one of my first Group 1s and his first Group 1. So I was 8 years old, so I had a really good relationship with him.
Yeah.
Efficient won a Melbourne Cup.
Great horse, Efficient.
Yeah, he had an unbelievable aerobic system. So he would be up there. I only got to ride him a few times.
Yeah.
And I think it'd have to be All Silent. He was he had an incredible turn of foot. He was a sprinter. From back last.
Yeah.
And he had an unbelievable turn of foot. So that'd be the 3.
Mate, sensational.
Mm-hmm.
Mate, thanks so much for coming on the show, mate. You're a legend. Good to see you. Good to hang out.
Yeah.
Thanks for hanging loose with us. Thanks for watching. Yeah, he's coming the Sharkers. Yeah, buddy. He's done his research. So thanks so much, mate. It's been great to have you on. And see you soon.
My pleasure.